If you're waking up dreading the day, feeling like you have a 100-pound backpack on everywhere you go, if getting out of the bed feels like the hardest thing you'll do all day, you're not imagining it. Right now, everything feels heavy. The world feels heavy. And here's what I need you to know today: waiting for the world to change or someone else to change isn't going to make it lighter. And I'm Tarnisha Mo Saz. Welcome to Self Love Sundays with Saz. And today I'm going to show you how to create lightness for yourself without waiting for anything or anyone to fix it for you. So let's talk about what happens when things feel heavy. This is when you start to pull back, you stay home more. And I get it. If you're on the East Coast, it is extremely, extremely cold outside. So I'm talking about even above that, right? Where you're canceling plans. And most importantly, you're holding on to money in this scarcity mindset because everything feels scary. You tell yourself when things get better, then I'll, do X, Y, and Z. When the economy improves, when work slows down, when relationships feel better, when winter's over. I've said that myself because I do not like winter, okay? When the news isn't so heavy, because Lord knows every time you turn on, even if you don't watch it on regular TV, every time you turn on social media, there is something new, something different, something deep that's happening. But here's what I know from, studying this for the last decade, this pattern, but also living myself. Heaviness doesn't go away because you avoid it. It goes away when you stop waiting and start creating. Okay. And so what's actually making everything feel heavy? Like, have you really sat down and asked yourself that question? Like, what's actually making everything feel, notice I'm talking about a feeling, heavy? Because it's not just the world in winter and it's not just the news. If we're going to get honest today, and this is where I need you to really, really go deep, right? It's because you've been running on empty for so long, you don't even remember what lightness feels like. Today is the day that we get to confront that because you've been so busy checking off the boxes, saying yes, showing up for everyone, that you forget to ask yourself a very, very important question. And this is a question that I want to stick on the entire first quarter of 2026 because it's really, really real that a lot of people don't. What do I actually need right now? What do you need right now? Not what does your job need, your family needs, your kids need, your mother needs, the dog needs. What do you need in this moment to feel lighter? And the truth is, because you don't know the answer to that question, you just keep going, pushing, performing, and most importantly, waiting. This is, I need you really to hear this because we are often waiting for someone to notice that you're struggling. Like, be real. Who are you waiting on to notice that you're struggling? Waiting for things to get easier, waiting for permission to rest. And then over time, we realize no one is coming. Not because the world is cruel, not because people are cruel, but most importantly, most people are just so busy surviving on their own, thinking about their own homes and their own issues and their own problems, they cannot recognize you. And the world isn't going to get lighter on its own. It just isn't. The economy isn't going to fix itself. Winter isn't ending tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't care, how many groundhog days we have and the groundhog saw its shadow. At the end of the day, we know the winter months. And right now, we're in the middle of February. It's not ending tomorrow. So what do you do today? But you can't get there because I'm going to tell you the answer to this question. So, what do? You keep pulling back, hiding, and waiting. And guess what happens? The heaviness compounds. But I'm going to tell you something that most people won't tell you because they don't know it and haven't taken the time to really create it for themselves. You can't wait your way to lightness. You cannot wait your way to lightness. You have to create it if you want something different. And I say this because a lot of people say they want something different, but when you present them with the ideal or the ideas and or the different thought patterns to help shift, they don't move in the shift. They keep talking about the same things over and over, doing the same things over and over, hoping for a different result and waiting for it to get so bad. And then I have no other choice because now I'm pounding my head against the big wall. But I'm going to tell you something that I've learned after working with women for over a decade, right? Who feel exactly like you do in this moment. Lightness isn't something that happens to you. It doesn't just happen by happenstance. It's something you create for yourself, and it starts with one decision. I always talk about the decision because life doesn't change just because you hope for it to change or because you wish for it to change. You have to truly make a decision to say old ways are not going to open new doors, and I get to walk to something different. This is the decision though. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not waiting for people, places, and things in the world to change or somebody to give me permission or something to get easier. I really had to come to this decision for myself. It was so interesting. I talk about it. There's a video that I talked about when I jumped out of the plane back in November. And the reason I got there is because originally I was supposed to do it before my 50th birthday in August, and I was supposed to do it with a group of friends. And one of the friends, some things started happening, and he couldn't do it. And then I just kept waiting. And I was like, you know what? No, I said I was leaving. I was not going into 2026, not doing this plane jump. It was just something that I really wanted to do. So I made provisions for it to happen. And it was the most exhilarating thing I had ever experienced in my life. It was the most scariest. Honestly, I did it because I wanted to face one of my biggest fears. And it was the biggest fear that I had at the time was jumping out of this plane. But I made that decision. No more waiting. I created this exhilarating, like most terrifying decision of my life, but it was the best decision because I say God allowed me to see the world from an eagle's view. And if you ever get an opportunity to do that, it will change your life. But you have to say to yourself, I'm creating lightness right now. I'm going to create this light for myself. I'm going to create this feeling for myself. So, what does it actually mean to create lightness? Because I know that's the question. It means you stop treating your peace like it's optional. You have to stop creating your peace like it's optional. It means you recognize that your exhaustion isn't something that you're going to power through, that you can't power through anymore. It's really information. What's happening in my body, what's happening in my mind, right? This is information. It means you have to ask yourself a different question or start asking yourself questions because some of us are not asking ourselves questions. We are just continually looking for the problem. So we always keep finding problems and there's never any solution. And it's because we don't have or refuse to ask ourselves the right question. Or I would not say the right question, a different question. Not how do we get through this? Because that's where everybody, how do we just get through it? No, it's what would make me feel lighter right now? Not tomorrow, right now. Not 20 minutes from now, right now. In this moment, ask yourself, even as you're listening to me, what would make my life feel lighter right now? Okay. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to make this happen. But here's how you start. First, you got to identify what's making things heavy for you. You have to really identify it and don't just put it off on everything external. So what do I mean by external? The economy, the news, the winter. No, what are you tolerating that's weighing you down? Because you can turn off the news. You can stop scrolling on social media. You can not pay attention to what's happening in the economy and actually work on your finances and create a financial blueprint for yourself so you don't always feel like you're underwater and in debt. You know, it's not, I don't care how much money you make, it's how you steward what you have. I've started off as a 322 a month welfare mother and was able to budget that and still make it happen just as well as I am right now in these 6+ figures. It's not about how much, it's about how you steward and being able to look at your means and not go above them. Okay, even in the world where everything feels extremely expensive. I remember 322 a month. You don't think $5 worth of gas felt expensive to me? It did. However, I know $5 got me really far back in the day on my Buick Skylark. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, what are you tolerating that's weighing you down? The commitments you don't want to keep, because guess what? Those commitments don't serve you anymore. They're not in alignment with who you are becoming. So you keep saying yes and showing up in places and spaces that don't feel good. But ask yourself that question. The relationships that drain you, and I'm not just talking about your spouse, because those, let me tell you something about marriage. I've been married before and divorced. So I kind of got a little little insight on this, okay? Your relationship is not going to feel happy all of the time. However, at least 70% of the time, you should feel great about your relationship. So they're going to feel draining. And it's going to feel like that because the person that you marry today is not going to be the person that you're going to be with tomorrow. And you guys have to learn how to grow within that. But and if it's draining you, there is an opportunity there for you to look at this differently, to go about it differently, even if it means couples counseling together, but that's gonna happen. Okay, if you decided to get married, you don't just get up and leave because it feels a certain way. And let me be very clear in my messaging. I am not talking about verbal or physical abuse. Those are not my lanes, and nor do I touch that. Okay. I'm talking about the normal stress and strain of relationships, and he feels like you drain him because he's not helping you with the dishes or helping you with the kids or whatever that is, right? In figuring out how this is the opportunity for both of you to grow together. And no, you can't do it alone. And there's different ways for you to come about that. But I'm not here to talk about that today. But I'm talking about looking at relationships that drain you. I'm talking about friendships that drain you. Like, even partnerships that drain you. You have to take an opportunity to look at that. The standards you're holding yourself to that don't even belong to you. These are the standards that your mother set. These are the standards that your teacher set. These extremely high standards, and there's nothing wrong with having high standards because I have them, but I'm talking about the ones that make you beat yourself up because you haven't met a certain place or space in your life. So now here you are, you thinking you haven't done anything good or anything right, and you have, but it's because you're holding yourself to a standard that it's virtually impossible because it never was yours. What are your standards? Have you ever sit down and make your standards, not someone else's? Okay. So the first thing is really identifying what makes life feel heavier. The second thing is give yourself permission today to let go. If you've never given yourself permission, I need you to do it right now. You don't need to wait for the right time to say no. The right time is now because you feel like it's time to say no. The right time is now. You don't need to explain why you're canceling. I stopped doing that. Hey, I can't make it. I don't need to explain why. Stop over explaining. Listen, the people who are going to love you and stick by you, they're going to do it anyway. Those who are going to leave, they're going to do it anyway. I need you to understand that today. So you can't make them like you enough for them to stick around. And if you, the only way they stick around is because you're doing for them or making them feel better about their lives, and it's not any sort of reciprocation. It's not working anyway. You don't need to earn the right to rest. You get to rest because you're a human being, not a human doing. And that's the reason why it's time to rest. You've been doing, doing, doing. When was the last time you allowed yourself just a moment to sit down and take some nice deep breaths and just relax? So the second thing is give yourself permission to let go. The third thing, you know what? Before I get to the third thing, I really want to say this. The part about letting go, you just decide. That's enough, and that's okay. Just decide and do it. Just decide. Don't wait for somebody to make the decision for you. We get so caught up in that. We want our spouses to see that we're upset. We want our friends to see that we're bothered. No, what we get to do is let go of that thought pattern of somebody being able to read your mind and go in and really have a conversation. We call them hot conversations, okay? But they're honest, open, and transparent. That is the only way you're going to be able to create the intimacy that you want is by being vulnerable. Vulnerability is the answer and it is the key. And if you're around people that you just can't be vulnerable with, then that's something that you're going to have to evaluate for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to let go of. I'm here to tell you that that's information and consider that it's telling you something. Okay. And so, third, you have to replace the heaviness with intention. Every time you say no to something that drains you, guess what you're doing? You're saying yes to something that can light you up. You know, something I've been doing recently? I've been coloring. I don't even know what it's been about. I just been loving that. Right. It's because everything feels heavy right now. You know, I'm working on growing my business. I'm working on, feeling my retreat, all the things. Right. And so I just decided to sit down and color. And guess what I said no to? I say no to those phone calls, no to those text messages. I really don't want to do right now. And it's not something that's of urgency. So I get to say yes to me and just sitting and coloring. Beautiful. Okay. Even if it's small, replace heaviness with something intentional. That coloring is small. Crossword puzzles, that's another thing I'm into right now. Something small. Even I have this little mini trampoline, right? I haven't jumped on in a minute. Today I said I'm just gonna jump on my trampoline for a minute. Get my lymphatic system going. Even if it feels selfish, because you know what? When you first start doing this, it's gonna feel selfish. It's not selfish to replace this heaviness that's happening in your life with something intentional and loving for you. You get to love on you. You get to feel like you are a priority in your life and that you are worthy of it all. Because here's what I know for sure: you can't control the world. You cannot, but you can control what you carry. And lately, you've been carrying things that don't belong to you. And when that 100-pound backpack that I talked about in the beginning is that 100, it's all the things. It's like bag lady. If you don't know Erykah Badu's song, and she talk about you gonna miss your bus, okay? You can't hurry up because you have too much stuff. Your destiny is leaving the bus. Your legacy, where you're supposed to go, you're gonna miss it. You're going to miss it because you're so busy carrying everybody else's load, everybody else's issues, everybody else's problems, everybody else's everything. So that weight that's on your back, while you're having knee issues, while you're having lower back pain, while your shoulder, while you're having headaches, is because you're carrying everyone else's stuff. And my target audience, yes, is women, but I know a lot of men who are stuck in the same cycle too. They are carrying everybody else's load. But when you finally make that decision to put down what's not yours to carry, your sister's issues, your father's issues, your mama's issues, your brother's issues. And it doesn't mean that we don't help family. And I'm going to say, if you don't help yourself, you're not really helping them. You're resenting that they need you so much. We're going to tell the truth and shame the devil up in here today. Okay. So when you stop waiting for permission and start creating space for what you need, that's when everything shifts. That's when you're able to help from a different place, not from a place of resentment, but from a place of love and just knowing that, you know what, here it is that I was able to give and help, and whatever they do with it, however they receive it, that's up to them, but it's not mine to carry anymore. And guess what? It's not because the world's going to change. I am a person that is a believer, strong believer in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I read the Bible, okay? This stuff that's happening in the world has been going on since the beginning of time, and it's going to go on long after I leave here. So what that did was it gave me enough information to know that I have to create my heaven here on earth. I am not waiting to die to go to heaven. What kind of world do we live in? Absolutely not. I am creating my heaven here on earth. Okay, before I go and meet and live with my father. Okay, before I go to that mansion, I'm going to build this one here too. We get to have heaven on earth. The world is not so messed up. Our thinking is. The way that we are intertwined with it all, as if we don't have a choice. And I'm not saying put my head in the sand, because I don't. I invest in the markets just like everybody else. I have stocks, like I understand what's happening in the world, but I also understand that my job is not to try to fix everything and everyone else. My job is to work on creating such a beautiful state and a beautiful world for me that I don't go on the spiral. And does that mean that I don't get depressed and I don't get down sometimes? Absolutely not. What it means is it's information for me to know that now it's time for a shift to happen in my life. My nervous system is saying, Hey, babe, the way we used to operate, with the way we used to think, the way we used to do things, that's we can't do that anymore. So now I'm going to get intentional about creating lightness for myself. And so everything is going to shift, not because the world changed, but because you decided it was time to create lightness instead of waiting for everything to shift. Okay. And so even with winter, so I've decided that, you know what, I'm not going to do another winter. So that means a lot of things in my life is going to have to shift in 2026 so that I can, move to Florida where it is that I've been wanting to be for the last 5 years because I don't desire winter anymore. That's going to create some big shifts in my life. Okay. So here's what I want you to do today. Ask yourself, what's one thing that I'm carrying that I can put down? Just one. Maybe it's a commitment you said yes to out of guilt. We're no longer doing things out of guilt. That has to go. That gets to go today. No more guilt and shame. That is not of God. That is not of God. That is condemnation. Okay. It's not conviction. Conviction is love and grace and mercy. Condemnation is shame and guilt, and that is not of any God that we serve. I don't care who you call your God. It is not of them. A standard, maybe it's a standard you hold yourself to that doesn't serve you. It wasn't never yours. You never even set that standard. It was something somebody else wanted you to live up to that they probably couldn't live up to, and that's why they were trying to force you to do. A relationship that drains more than it gives. That's something that you have to consider. The belief you have to wait for things to get better before you can rest. That is not the truth. You know what? It gets better when you allow yourself to rest, because when you allow yourself to rest, right, it gives you an opportunity to think. So when you're thinking about what's one thing you can put down today, ask yourself those questions. Maybe it's one of those things, right? But just what's the one thing that you can put down today? I'm not asking you to put down 10. I know that's impossible. Just one. The one decision that says, I'm going to create lightness right now. Because the truth is, the world isn't going to give you permission to put the things down. The world isn't going to tell you, nobody is going to tell you it's okay to choose yourself. I'm telling you that today. And sometimes our significant others tell us that, but we don't want to listen to them. Why is it that the people who tell us the great things about ourselves, we don't want to listen to them, but it's so much easier to listen to negative things? That's another information signal. But you have to give yourself permission. And when you do, and you stop waiting and you start creating, everything is going to shift. Not all at once, but enough so you can breathe again. Just take a breath. I'm just saying now, if you're sitting here thinking, I don't even know what I'm carrying anymore because the backpack is so huge, it's so heavy, it's so much in there, it's so many things all over the years. I get that. And it's one of the reasons why I actually created this retreat called Design to Win. And it isn't a retreat that's going to give you more to do. Because honestly, we need to figure out what we need to stop doing so that we can understand what we need to do. But it's when you finally stop long enough to see what you're actually carrying in that backpack, why you keep missing that bus over and over again, why you're not doing the things that you love to do, but doing the things that you have to do. Who told you that you have to do it? And it's where you decide what you're ready to put down for real, though. Okay? When you stop waiting for life to feel lighter, you stop waiting for life to feel better, and you start to create it for yourself in that moment. I'm telling you, this retreat is going to be everything. It's going to be from April 30th to May 2nd. It's going to be in Pennsylvania. And here's the thing, it's only going to be for 15 powerful women that are ready. Because here's the thing about me, I desire to work with women who are ready. They just say, listen, I can't carry this anymore. I don't really understand how to get there. I don't even understand all that's in my backpack. I just know that I'm ready to put this down and I'm ready to go walk into the world that serves me, the woman that I am determined to become, that I'm not going to let any person, place, or thing get in between. I have 5 seats left. It is going to be absolutely amazing. This is where you're going to learn how to create, design the life. That's why it's called Design to Win, because we get to design the life that we want instead of waiting for it to appear, hoping, wishing, and praying. Faith without works is dead. Okay, but also you have to have faith in the works. Okay, so what I always say, works without faith is dead too. You have to have faith in the work that you're doing. And sometimes we can't get to that by ourselves. And this is why getting in a community of like-minded women who are on the same trajectory, that understand, that get it, that don't judge, but they are waiting, you know what I'm saying, to uh create this space for themselves to grow higher. And I'm telling you, if that's what you are feeling, click there's going to be a link in the bottom of this video. Click it to book a call, because I'm telling you, nothing in your life has to be permanent. Everything you feel is temporary. The seasons, all of it, it doesn't get to be permanent unless you decide to keep making it be that way. And I'm telling you right now, if you keep waiting for your spouse to fix it, or your kids to grow up to fix it, or everything to stop happening in the economy in the world to fix it, it does not happen. It will not happen. You have to make the decision to say, I decided today. I am creating lightness for myself starting now. And if that is you, all I want you to do is just to put into the comments, I am creating lightness today. I love you so much for listening today. I hope you have the most amazing, amazing week creating lightness for yourself. Again, if you are ready to join us on this retreat, there's going to be a link below that you can copy and paste it. And I can't wait to talk to you on the call. I cannot wait to see what you have created for yourself, because you know that you are so worthy of a life that is beautiful and aligned for you. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye now.